In ancient Egypt, punishment often went beyond simple execution or imprisonment. Rather than ending life quickly, the Egyptians found ways to leave a lasting scar, one that would follow the offender for their entire life. Shame was the ultimate weapon in the Egyptian justice system, a tool to strip a person of their dignity and social standing in a way that was far more enduring than physical pain. This deeply ingrained cultural practice was designed not just to punish, but to ensure that the crime and its consequences would never be forgotten. The core principle behind these punishments was not only about retribution, but about publicly shaming the individual. Crimes such as theft, adultery, and blasphemy didn't always result in death. Instead, the punishment often took the form of public humiliation. The aim was to make an example of the offender in front of the community, using their disgrace as a warning to others. In this system, one's reputation, especially among family and peers, was sacred. The Egyptians understood that nothing could destroy a person quite like social degradation. Take, for example, the punishment for adultery. If a married woman was caught with another man, she would be stripped of her clothes, her head shaved, and forced to walk through the streets. As she made her way through town, people would hurl garbage and insults at her. Sometimes, the woman would be branded or tattooed, ensuring that the mark of her shame would be visible to all, long after the incident had passed. This was more than just physical suffering. It was about marking the individual so they could never return to their previous life. In a society where reputation meant everything, a person branded in such a way had no chance of blending back into normal life. Blasphemy, too, carried severe consequences. Offenders who insulted the gods were subjected to public whipping, often in the very temples where they had sinned. Their crimes would be read aloud, and the entire crowd would witness their punishment, reinforcing the lesson that anyone who violated divine law would face public degradation. This public shaming was not only about humiliation, it was a tool for moral and social control. Children would hear the stories of those who had crossed the line, ensuring the lesson lingered for generations. The pain inflicted was not only physical, but emotional and social, leaving a permanent stain on the offender's life. Thieves, especially those who stole from temples, received punishments equally designed to humiliate. Instead of being executed, they were smeared with dung and tied up in the marketplace. The stench and sight of a person marked in such a way ensured that no one would forget the crime. In a culture where reputation was paramount, being marked by dung, a symbol of impurity, was a fate worse than death. It destroyed the offender's place in society. The humiliation became a lasting warning to others. Defy the laws, and your punishment will follow you for the rest of your life. These punishments were not left to chance. Carefully crafted rituals designed to inflict maximum humiliation. The fear of being publicly exposed was a powerful tool, and Egyptian officials used it strategically to maintain social order. The message was clear. Breaking the law meant more than physical punishment, meant the loss of your very identity. You would be marked, humiliated, and made to carry your shame everywhere you went. Your family would disown you, your friends would turn their backs on you, and you would never be able to blend into society again. One of the most severe forms of public humiliation in ancient Egypt was the honey trap. This punishment was reserved for women accused of seducing priests, a crime considered a serious threat to the purity of the temple. The woman would be tied to a wooden pole in a public area, and honey would be poured over her, attracting flies and insects. Left exposed to the sun, she would endure hours of insect bites and stings, all while being watched by the public. The spectacle was both painful and degrading, a ritual that ensured her disgrace would be shared by all. Punishments in ancient Egypt were also a way of erasing an individual from society. A person who committed a serious offense could find their name erased from records, monuments, and even their own family history. The ancient Egyptians believed that a person's name was vital to their existence in the afterlife. To have one's name removed meant that they would not be remembered, not even by the gods. This was a fate worse than physical death. A person erased from history was condemned to wander in oblivion without any hope of recognition or remembrance. High-ranking officials who fell out of favor with the pharaoh didn't just face a quiet dismissal. Instead, they were subjected to a form of punishment that completely destroyed their reputation. Take Panvey, for example, a foreman accused of corruption under the reign of Ramses III. Rather than being quietly removed, he was forced to publicly confess by pressing his hands into hot wax, an act that left permanent handprints on display for all to see. The humiliation wasn't just for him, it was for everyone who witnessed it, a warning to others not to challenge the authority of the pharaoh. Egyptians also understood the power of erasing someone's legacy. When a rival pharaoh or official was defeated, their name was often scratched out from monuments and inscriptions. The damage was done deliberately and thoroughly to ensure that their memory would not survive. This act of erasure was more than just political, it was deeply personal. Targeting the person's identity and place in history, this was a punishment that transcended time, ensuring that the disgrace would outlast the individual. For the worst offenders, the punishment didn't end in life. The dead, too, could be dishonored. In a culture where burial and legacy were of utmost importance, those who were shamed in life often found their tombs desecrated. Their bodies were buried in dishonorable ways, with no respect paid to their memory. The consequences of their actions, therefore, lived on in the form of an erased existence. The Egyptians understood better than anyone the power of public shaming. These punishments were not just about inflicting physical pain. They were about stripping the individual of everything they held dear: their dignity, their reputation, and their very identity. The ancient Egyptian justice system was designed not to kill, but to humiliate, to ensure that the lesson of shame would stick long after the punishment was over. Today, the tactics of public shaming have evolved, but the principles remain the same. While the tools may have changed from physical punishment to viral scandals, the effect is still the same. Public humiliation remains a powerful tool in controlling behavior and ensuring compliance. Whether through a courtroom spectacle or a viral social media call-out, the shame inflicted can last a lifetime. The Egyptians may have perfected the art of public disgrace, but in the modern world, still see their legacy in how we punish, humiliate, and ultimately erase individuals from our collective memory.